Hey, hi everyone. This is Prabhat, co-founder Nected. In this video, we'll talk about how you can integrate MongoDB with Nected Rule engine so as to fetch data directly from your Mongo database, execute the rule, and return the response. And probably after that, you can also update the outcome back into your MongoDB. So let's see how we can do it over Nected. So by the way, in this example, I'll be taking MongoDB example, but if you have any other database like MySQL, Postgres, Redshift, you can do the same because it's just that the connector is different, but the rest of the steps are going to be same. So to start with, first you'll have to pick up the MongoDB connector. You'll have to add the integration. On clicking add, you'll have to provide some credentials configurations so that we can connect your MongoDB over Nected. For extra security purpose, you can just whitelist this IP address so that no one else be able to access your database. All our password will be encrypted. So for demo purpose, I have already created a Mongo instance. So in this, I have already filled in some credentials. I'll test it out. The test is successful. I'll publish in staging. My connector is already published, so it won't republish it. Once this is done, so you'll move to data sources. So obviously you'll have a lot of data in your MongoDB and you don't want to use all the data for your rule. So what you can do is create a data query layer over your database. You click data source, click on the integration that you have created, and now you can write a query to actually unify your data in whatever manner you want and use it against a rule. For a demo purpose, I have already created a data source. In this, I have a basic demo DB where there are listings and reviews and posts. We, by the way, support extended JSON format. So you can write your MongoDB query like this. You test it out. This will return the response. And this is the response. These are the keys now that you can use it in your rule directly without passing on to them via our Nected Rule API. And I'll show you that in a moment. We also have a setting where you can set up the row limit, set up a cache. So if you don't need a fresh data, you can set up a cache, have an expiry. But if you need a real-time data, you can just turn off this cache. And every time when the rule will be called, Nected will call up your MongoDB and get the fresh data using this query. So I'll just close it. Now we are done with setting up our integration as well as setting up a query layer to unify your data that has to be used against the rule. Now comes the main part. So suppose if I want to build a credit scoring, so for which decision table is the most common way, because in this you'll have multiple combos of rule conditions and respective outcome for each combo. So it's gonna be an Excel or table like a rule where you will set up different combos and different outputs. So I'll use a demo rule that I've already created. So to start with, first you have to define the input attributes. So in this case, you can pass on some fixed attribute which you want to call through Nected API, which is this. This is an API where all our rule get published automatically. So you'll define, say, I want to pass an age, or you can define I want to pass a location of the person. I'll just say it is a string. I can give it as a number, as a test value. So this is where I'll just click on next. So first of all these rules that gets created over Nected gets published over this API. So anytime whenever you'll do changes, this is the API. These are the payload. I'll tell you just how to set up a payload. And you can actually call this API to call up the rule and get the response. So to start with, first you have to define the input parameters which are gonna be the payload for you. So I'll just delete these ones. Suppose you have to ways like you want to pass on some direct attributes over API which you want to use in a rule. So let's say age, and I'll just set up a sample value there. Then you also want to pass a location, which is going to be string, and I'll give USA. And then you want to pass the customer ID, right? And this is going to be a number. I don't fill test value right now because I want to fetch it from my data source, which is Mongo, right? So I'll just click on save and next. Now this is the part where I can actually select the integration that I have done. I'll select it out, and this is the attributes that I have set it in input attributes. So I'll pick up customer ID because this is what I want to fetch or map it with the data source, and this is the ID. All right. So this is I can just match. So now whenever I'll pass customer ID, it will match automatically with my underscore ID in database and will actually fetch all the other attributes automatically in the root. I'll click on save and next. This is the way where I can actually fetch my input attributes dynamically for an API or any data like from third-party credit bureaus or this, which I'll show you in a bit. For current sake, let me just close it and move forward. So now you can create any rule in a no-code. So if you see, all the input attributes that we have defined above are listed here with the number types. All the data source attributes now are automatically available here to build any kind of a rule for you, right? So in this case, so suppose if I want to have a credit scoring, so I want to say customer ID can be anything. He or she owns the property type of this, so I'll have just chosen this property type of this. I can also add other attributes. So in this case, suppose I had a location, so I can always say his location is coming, she's coming from USA. So you can choose any kind of attributes either that you're sending via API or through database. And in this case also I say not equal to USA. I can also duplicate now. Suppose I want to also create not equals to, so I can just duplicate and say not equal to. Similarly, in this case, I can say, so I'll just set a net is 5, and in this case, not equals to 2, right? So this is my scoring logic, and now I can amend it at any time as I want, even after publishing. So to finally, at the final steps, I'll just have to go into testing staging. So these are the sample values, 35. This is something now being fetched as a sample from my database. I can change it as one, and this is a location. I just test it out. So this is the score because it matched with the USA and age was 35 and property was house of this user. But if I say India and I test it out, it will change it to 5, right? Because of this. So you can just test it as much as you want. Once you're done testing, you can close it, and now you can publish it over the API that I have mentioned. This is the API. Now you'll have to call it with this payload which we defined earlier, and rest of the attributes will be fetched from database. Now what we have done is we have exposed an API which where you can pass some input payloads that will automatically fetch your data from database through your customer ID, which is mapped here. Run the rule, execute it, and return the response. But probably you also want to update it back into your MongoDB or send it to third-party APIs. In this case, add action is something that you can use. So once you click on it, you'll see all the connectors or integrations that you have created, Mongo, Slacks, APIs. And this, if you want to update it back into your Mongo now, you can just click on the connector. It will again open a query builder, which is a low code. You can write a query here in terms of, so I'll just copy this query from our tech documentation. So this is our Mongo tech documentation. So suppose if I want to update, so I can just use an extension update in here. To use action, you just have to click on an action. It will show you all the database integration that you have done, all the API integration that you have done. You can call up any third-party APIs if you want to send this rule outcome back to any third-party or your internal APIs. Or if you want to update in your Mongo, you just have to click on the respective integration. In this, you'll have to write update query. I'll just pick it from my tech documentation. So these are as I have told earlier, we are supporting extended JSON updates, so you can write queries in this way. So I'll just go back. So I'll just copy paste my earlier pasted query. So in this, if we say I want to update this listing reviews, ideas, and it's all tokenized. So actually you can use any kind of a token here, be it data set from database, from any custom input, additional. So you can use all the tokens and actually create this update query, make it as dynamic as possible, and you can save it. And you can save it. So now whenever you test, it will run the rule, return your response via the, as a part of that API call, and will run this action to update it back into a MongoDB. Lastly, so what we have done so far is we have created a Nected Rule, expose it over API. You can set it in no code as any condition as you want, and then you can take action to update it back into your DB or API. Now, for a lot of clients, especially in the fintechs, they also want to have some data coming from their third party, and that is to be used in the rule, or they want to fetch dynamic attributes, say user detail coming from a KYC service, or credit scoring, or their loans coming from a credit bureau, right? So those are the kind of things that they want to fetch from third party and then use it in the rule also. So in this case, this is fetched from API, which can come handy. So what I'll do, suppose I have to add this income details, and I'll have to create this mock update API. So this is the URL I have already configured. So via integration tab, I'll just pass on some attributes here. Say suppose user2. It's a get request. I'll fetch this input attribute by API. So this is what it has fetched me, right? All the current loans, probably my taxable income last year and everything. This is a mock API that I've created. So I'll just save and close this. So now once I close this, and suppose if I want to add it in a condition, so you will see this income detail. So in the input attributes, you see these income details, and all the API parameters that were sent back are now available here. Now I can create my conditions using payroll, taxable incomes, whatever that is coming from a third party, and can use in the rule no code. This will definitely be useful when you are integrating a lot of third party and want to use that for the rule building. So I can just say suppose, so just delete it. So this is it. Please let us know if you have any queries or any use case that you want to set it up over Nected and need any assistance or any help. And we would love to help you out or give that assistance to set up your POCs. You can reach out us to me at prabhat@nected.ai, or reach out us to support team at assist@nected.ai. So I look forward for you to set up your use case in few minutes and able to iterate them in again few minutes without getting blocked on a tech bandwidth or expertise. Thanks for your time. Thank you.